Who exactly is Israel dealing with that the world does not understand? So let's just delve into this a little bit. We look at the geopolitical landscape around Israel. Jordan, where the population is predominantly Palestinian, says it will not budge in its opposition to Donald Trump's proposal of relocating Palestinians in Gaza to other countries, including Jordan and Egypt. Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi told Al Jazeera the Palestinians cannot be transferred to Egypt, Jordan, or any Arab state. He talked about the Palestinian right for freedom, just not the freedom that allows them to actually leave an active war zone. But no one comments on this. The Arab community has refused to take in or help the Palestinians since 1948, including when Jordan had control over areas like Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. Egypt has refused to allow the Palestinians to leave, despite having an actual border with Gaza, an ample space by that border where it could easily accommodate them. More than 20 Arab states, 20, with vast resources, incredibly wealthy, encompassing nearly 10% of the world's total land area. They will not offer refugee status to their fellow Arab Palestinians. Yet the one and only tiny Jewish state is prepared to absorb all Jews worldwide. Kafir and Ariel Bibas' bodies were released in the last prisoner exchange, the one before this one that happened on the weekend. 4 years old and 9 months old. Shiri, their mother, still hasn't been given back. She's dead, that's confirmed. And the forensics have done their work, and they've found out that these kids were strangled to death in November 2023. The capability to strangle to death a 4-year-old and a 9-month-old and their mother, and try and then mutilate the bodies to make it look as if they died from Israeli explosions. Israel has since demanded the release of Shiri Bibas's body, and they have apparently received it and are running tests to make sure that this is now what they were supposed to have received all along. The nation is in deep anger and grief, and again reminded of who they're actually dealing with. As Hamas released the bodies of these children, they held a celebration ceremony with children from Gaza on stage singing and celebrating the death of these Jewish children. The camera shows the civilians all around them celebrating. People living there still support this horror show and the methodology in its machinations. Now, this is not the thought of all Arabs or all Muslims. The Grand Mufti of Dubai, Ahmed Al-Haddad, stated after watching the scenes of dead Israeli babies being paraded in coffins, said, Hamas has brought shame to Islam on a level never seen before. The Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia spoke about what unfolded in Gaza and said of them cheering on the coffins of the Bibas and Obed Shlifshitz, what we saw today in Gaza is a disgrace to Islam, an act of blasphemy against Allah. Netanyahu's comments was, we will eliminate every single murderer. We will completely eliminate Hamas. Ben Gavir, when will you all finally understand you don't make deals with the devil? He's 100% correct. Amir made a powerful statement. The Nazis are considered the embodiment of absolute evil, and for good reason. But there were Germans in Germany that smuggled and saved Jews. There's not a single Gazan in Gaza who helped the Jews at all. Netanyahu demands the war's ending as soon as possible, the exile of Hamas leadership, fully demilitarized Gaza, continued Israeli security in the Strip, because they know who they're dealing with. The Arab world knows who they're dealing with. In the past, where these Palestinians from Gaza have gone into those countries, they've caused insurrection. Go look at the history of Jordan, and chaos, and try to overthrow the government. That's why they don't want them. Adam Buchler, the Trump administration's envoy for hostage affairs, issued a severe ultimatum to Hamas in a CNN interview. The decision to hand over a body to Israel that does not belong to a hostage is shocking and a violation to the agreement. Hamas must release all the hostages or face total annihilation. Now we know they never followed through on this, and they continue with the release. The end of phase 1 now complete, and now we're supposed to be moving to phase 2 in this deal with the devil. And then they had a whole planned terror attack on Israel at the same time, Hamas. So how are you supposed to believe anything in any agreement or any deal with them? Multiple buses were set to blow with civilians on board. But thanks to the Lord and a miracle, they went off the night before after everyone was off the bus. And they were able to find bombs on multiple other buses. This was something that Hamas claimed responsibility for openly. Hundreds of civilians from central Israel were supposed to get killed or severely injured, most of them women and children. And you think that they want this slaughter to end. They want the Jews wiped out. 15 buses scheduled to explode just in the Tel Aviv area, and they were going to detonate themselves in a suicide style on the light rail. All of this foiled due to a miracle of some of these bombs going off prematurely. And then the last 6 living hostages of ceasefire's first phase released by Hamas returned safely, now on the weekend. Tal Shoham, Omer Shem Tov, Omer Venkert, Elia Cohen, Avera Mengistu, and Hisham al-Sayed, released from captivity in Gaza by the terrorist organization on Saturday. The 6 hostages were released at 3 different times from separate locations. Most of the hostages emerged frail and had lost massive amounts of weight. Hamas again staged elaborate release ceremonies, parading the hostages on stage and forcing some of them to speak to the crowds. They forced them to thank their captors for the torture and hell that they've been put through over this entire time. There are still 63 hostages in the hands of Hamas. The government of Israel is committed to continuing to act with determination to bring them home. As of Saturday evening, 63 Israeli hostages remain in captivity by Hamas in the Strip. The IDF estimates 36 of them have been killed in captivity. This is the monstrous thing that they are dealing with. The evil that is directed at them. There is no deal. There is no, let me give you a state and now we're all going to be friends and everyone's going to be happy. No, the Arab nations, the Muslim nations don't even want them. So deep is this evil ingrained and taught and educated and drilled into them against the people of Israel. The devil wants Israel wiped out, blotted out, off the map, removed from being a nation or a name on earth, because then he can say, look, God has failed in one of his eternal promises to the nation of Israel. Now you know what Israel is facing and why we pray for Israel, and we pray for the people in Gaza to have experiences with the Lord. Because no matter what the enemy plans, there's always but God. Shalom.